Hi there, I'm Mike Creevy for Homeschool Connections, and with me today is Homeschool Connections instructor Victoria Cerise. Victoria, thanks so much for stopping by today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat more.
Well, and it's always fun to talk to other instructors in Homeschool Connections and to try to get, everybody acquainted at least a little bit with you in this couple minutes that we have. So why don't we just start off, with a little bit about your background and kind of what brought you to Homeschool Connections?
Yeah, so again, my name is Victoria Cerise. I live in Ohio. I am a wife. I have a background. So I actually used to live in New Jersey, and I have a background in nursing. So I have a bachelor's of science in nursing, and I practiced as an emergency department nurse for a while. Yeah, so it was really fun. Lots of different interesting things. Always a different day. So I worked as a nurse. Now. I actually did a little bit of monitoring for Homeschool Connections and then have dived into teaching as well. So now I don't work bedside anymore as an RN. I just do teaching and show kind of students like my love for science, my love for like God's creation and just like the beauty
Hmm.
of it. And then I also have a photography business. So two kind of totally different worlds,
Cool.
science and then creative. But I work as a Catholic wedding photographer. I niche in Catholic weddings, and so I also do teaching of photography as well.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and, and so you teach photography, and what are some of the other courses you mentioned that you?
Yeah, so I teach photography, I teach photography editing, and then I
Oh,
also
okay.
teach two science classes. I teach middle school life science. So that's kind of like an intro to kind of like a mini anatomy and physiology, kind of intro
Hmm.
into that very basic level, and then a little bit of biology in there as well. And then I also teach high school anatomy and physiology.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Well, and I'm just really curious how, as far as the methodology and just kind of the this online setting, how does that work for like the photography class, for example? What do you do with that? How do you do that?
Yeah, so it's primarily a lecture that I teach like online. I kind of show different skills. I also have my camera with me, and I show kind of different areas of the camera and show different videos as well. But then I always say the best way to learn is to go out and do. So I assign different assignments for like different photography challenges that I call them, and
Mhm.
so we take whatever we learned for the day. So if we learned composition for the day, I have different challenges based on that specific area of photography, and they go out either outside their house or to a park or wherever, and they practice those skills and then upload those images, and then I give different critiques
That's
on their
very cool.
photos. Yeah, it's really, really fun.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the class, we do like kind of a class critique. So everyone can kind of see each other's photos as well, and just kind of see like the progression of how everyone's like doing and learning and kind of help each other as well.
Sure. Well, and I don't mean to open up a huge can of worms, but I imagine, and I've heard from some photographer friends that it's it can be a real challenge now because all of us are walking around with the phone. We have this unique ability to capture particular moments, but that can I imagine very much maybe dull our concept of photography. It's as a true art form. That it's not just a mechanical like I got to capture this. Maybe could you speak to that a little bit, just about how you see that the importance of the artistic side of this?
Yeah, for sure. That's actually one of the things that I'm dabbling in within this class as well, is talking about like storytelling and kind of not just taking a photo just to take a photo. Like I feel like you said, everyone is so used to just grabbing their phone, taking a photo, and it's like it's not that great, but it does the job. But I'm really trying to get these the students to kind of see and like use it kind of as a creative outlet. Some of them want to become photographers. Some of them just want to just learn more and be like the go-to person when someone's like, "Oh, where should we take the photo?" It's like this is a good spot. It's not just about the background, but it's also about the lighting and
Yeah.
the composition and the posing and just making sure everyone looks good instead of just making it kind of just like that basic photo.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun. They can really use their creativity, and I've seen just like how much they've grown throughout like the weeks of
Yeah.
taking the class and stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, and I always find it again. I'm absolutely amateur with it, but I think and just even in my own little way, there's something really powerful about I want to say like the incarnational side of it too, of not just quickly snapping the photo, but walking around with that openness. Like I'm almost an aperture kind of right to creation
Mm-hmm.
itself around me, and an awareness the attention, like the attentiveness that it can kind of build in you to be able to be on the lookout, right, for that perfect moment or that expression of something God's trying to say right now. I really think it is maybe a really overlooked, I imagine,
Yeah.
mode of even of theological significance, you know.
hmm And yeah, kind of speaking to that a little bit, not quite, but I have two separate courses, like I said, photography and then photography editing. So I
Hmm.
try in the photography class, teach them all the different skills. The way I learned how to shoot like manual and composition and stuff was actually through film. I took a
Mm.
college elective class, black and white film photography.
Oh,
So you
cool.
couldn't really, yeah, it was so much fun. And you couldn't just like edit something out. Like you really needed to think about your settings. You only had like 36 frames in one roll of film. Film was pretty expensive, so you couldn't just snap like a million photos. So I try to use like a lot of the skills and a lot of the techniques that I learned in that class and translate it. Obviously, we're not shooting film, we're shooting digital cameras,
Hmm.
but I try to approach it like we're not going to edit these specific photos. You want to get the photo correct in camera as much as possible. And then the editing class is something different, and we will dive into more editing skills there. But I try to have the students approach it with like, this is the photo that you want to end up with, and yeah,
Sure.
just try to approach it like more intentionally rather than just snapping photos.
Hmm. Sure. Yeah.
So
And I'm do you introduce them to different kinds of software, or at least, what's available out there?
yeah, so I for as far as editing goes, we do Lightroom Classic, which is like that's what I use for all of my editing, so I know
Hmm.
it the best. But it's a little bit less intense than Photoshop, but you can still
Hmm.
do most of the Photoshop skills in Lightroom. So
Sure.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh.
that's what it would teach. Yep.
And so, is there anything that maybe somebody reading the syllabus or the postings, on the website about your courses, is there anything in particular that maybe that doesn't quite fully convey that's special, or that in particular that you would want to point out to potential students? Just something about your courses coming up.
As far as my courses, I would just say that I try to keep them very fun, very like interactive, even though, the science courses especially are a little bit more lecture based, more knowledge based. I try to keep it fun and interactive. Like in anatomy and physiology, we have like different like case studies. So we have like a patient and we're trying to figure out what's going on with the patient
Hmm.
together. And then learning the different diseases or different like functions of through learning what's going on with this patient. So I try to apply it like in a real life skill, maybe like a patient, not exactly like a patient that you would see in an emergency department, but potentially that one that would maybe land in one, or just, like something that's more like a real life scenario. So I try to keep it fun and interactive. Science is really fun. It can be a little overwhelming, but it's really, really fun to learn about God's creation and just like all of the little things that add up that like make our bodies like so incredible. So,
Yeah.
so I love to do that. Same thing with photography too. I try to keep it very interactive, very fun, not stressful. So, so that's my plan for everything. So,
Oh, wonderful.
yeah.
Well, so how can students learn more? Parents who are potentially considering signing up, where can they go to learn more about your courses?
Yeah, so you can go into homeschoolconnections.com and just kind of take a look at the different courses on there. You can check out the live classes as well as recorded and see what fits best for your family. If you want to reach out to me directly, you can find my email address is just my first name, last name, and then HSC for Homeschool Connections. So Victoria Cerise, HSC at gmail.com. And that would be the best way to get a hold of me. And you can just reach out and I will respond to you and answer any questions that you have.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Victoria, so much for stopping by today and sharing about your Homeschool Connections courses with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. God bless.
God bless. Bye.